All right, guys, we got this 2024 Ram Rebel pulled into the shop, and I know what you're saying. Nothing special about a Ram Rebel. There is something special about this one. It's a 2024 Ram Rebel Cummins. Couldn't be more excited about it. What are we going to do with it? We're going to completely tear it apart.
I'm going to need some pliers and a set of 30-weight ball bearings.
And rebuild it into an awesome chase truck for a client of ours that you might know. I'm just going to leave it there, guys. You might know this client.
There's something funny here, boy?
And you're gonna have to stick around to find out who it is. This truck is basically the perfect mix between like drivability and comfort and towing capacity. It's a 2500. I've driven a lot of these Rams from 3500s, 6500 down to the 1500s, and I like this one the most because it's a perfect mixture between like towing capacity, comfort, and drivability. Doesn't feel like you're driving a ginormous, annoying truck. It's a nice daily driver.
We're gonna do a 3.5-inch Carly pin top kit, which is basically just a high performance kit. We're gonna do a aluminum service bed from Knapheide, and we're gonna do lots of modifications to it. We're gonna go through and basically build this thing out to where it'd be an awesome recovery vehicle or a off-road chase truck. Totally functional, totally cool on the aesthetics. It's gonna be a pretty rad build. I'm gonna level the truck out on these jack stands. What we're planning on doing is we're gonna take this cross member out and this cross member out that hold the spare tire. We're gonna put a custom fuel tank back here, and what we're gonna end up doing is building a structure underneath of it, basically a skid plate that will bring all the structure back into the frame, just to make sure that the frame doesn't get a twist in it or something silly. And then give us this big amount of space to hold a bunch of fuel that we can use for fueling up equipment. So the first step, I think, is gonna be taking this entire harness and peeling it back off the back of the frame, and we're gonna see if we can lay it off to the side, and then we're gonna get rid of the spare tire, and then we're gonna start cutting, and we're gonna get rid of the factory hitch also.
See, guys? Glad the camera caught that. Aaron's telling me it's pretty simple. In his eyes, everything's pretty simple. In my eyes, everything's, a little bit more complicated.
We'll go from suspension, we'll do the bed when that arrives. We'll do a front bumper, which is be custom. We're waiting on CAD files from Dodge right now. Make that a little bit easier. And then we'll add in a few accessories like the PSC hydro assist steering and a portable air compressor. We'll do a few things outside of that also. So all the parts showed up for the Dodge chase truck build. We went with a Carly 3 1/4 pin top system. It's pretty sweet. With the pin top system, it comes with 2.5-inch king shocks, front and rear. They bolt into the factory locations. With a bigger shock like this, we have more surface area, the piston that's inside the shock. So basically we're able to have a lot more dampening. The shock stays colder, it handles that big heavy truck and a big load. We also went with a PSC hydro assist steering kit. So basically we'll end up running this ram, hydraulic ram, in the front with the steering box. Essentially with hydro assist, you have a hydraulic ram helping assist the steering is all it is. Typically, most of the time it's like 300% more steering power through most rams, like a 2.0 ram like this, compared to what the factory steering box would do by itself. You don't have to run a steering stabilizer, you don't have to run anything. You run big tires, it's easy to steer, be comfortable going down the highway. It makes the big tires feel like they're not even there. Also with our Carly kit, we opted to do the radius arm upgrade, which this allows for proper caster alignment of the front end. So the truck will drive straight down the highway. It won't dart in any direction. The steering, let off the steering wheel, always goes straight. Wheels and tires, we went with a 37-13-5-18 Mickey Thompson mud terrain. Nice big tire, it's got a lot of sidewall. Factory, the truck came with 20s. We went with 18. We like a little more sidewall. We also got 6 tires. We're gonna have 4 tires on the truck. We're also gonna carry 2 spares, just in case we have a long day out in the desert recovery, something like that. Most of the time, you're lucky if you got a full-size spare. We got 2. The goal, too, is having this big, tall tire built into the back bumper and then being able to tow a gooseneck trailer over top of it. So, yeah, we'll see how that turns out.
Surprise, surprise! The press brake is here. Every day we're getting new equipment in the shop and getting more and more capable. This is one of the biggest pieces of the shop that we've been working on, is this press brake. So the challenge is getting it into the shop where we need it. So we got electrical plumbed over to this wall, and take a look at this dinosaur. It is huge and it's going to take quite the effort to get it moved. So we got the big forklift out for this one.
Does it look pretty square?
We can turn it right now. We need to.
So we just got this old school Komatsu press brake in the shop. This thing was made in, I think, 1984, 85. I'm not sure 100%. But it's awesome to come in and see a piece of equipment like this. Not CNC, it's an old mechanical press brake and still in service to this day. Still making guys money, still making a living for some blue collar folks. Haven't let anybody down. It's just tossed past hands a couple times. I'm excited to use it. I love old equipment. It's fun to run. Sometimes difficult, so I'm gonna have to learn how to run that controller over there and get through it, but this is gonna be awesome. We're building a fuel tank, essentially. It's like a transfer tank like you would have in the back of the truck. But since this bed is so small, let's put it underneath the truck. We don't need the space for anything except for a cool, custom aluminum fuel tank. As you can see, we have a big opening here. There was a spare tire carrier. There was a big old crank to crank your spare tire carrier. We don't need none of that no more. So what we did is we cut all this out, got the frame all cleaned up. My plan is to be able to mostly carry gasoline, you know, if you're filling up your razors or off-road toys or whatever. But I want to put a drain plug on the bottom of it so you can flush it out and then also put diesel in it. I think we need a way to mark that so no one switches them up and so everybody knows what's in the thing at all times. And with this amount of space, it was like, fuel is the answer. You gotta put fuel here. So we got all the plates cut for the fuel cell cradle. It's going to go in the back of that Rebel. Sam's taking on as much welding as he can to get more and more experience. He's coming along very nicely. He's learning a lot. So he's gonna put this thing together, and I'm gonna go design the fuel cell with the baffling system while he's doing this, and hopefully we'll meet at the same time, and he'll have a cradle built, and I'll have a fuel cell cut and ready to be TIG welded together. Better be square, because if it's not square, the fuel cell's not gonna fit in it.
It's gonna be square.
Okay.
Just got done cleaning up all the plates. Now we're just gonna square it up on the edge of the table, start welding things together. It's coming along nicely. So let's get to it.
So we're getting started on the suspension install. We removed all the factory components, factory radius arms, coil springs, all of that. Right now we're installing the Carly radius arm drop brackets. So we got to drill a frame, put crush sleeves in them, a few other minor things. But after that, let's go quick. Nuts, bolts, we'll get everything bolted back up, get the shocks on it, and hopefully get it set on its own weight pretty soon. We got the fuel cell cradle in the truck, which is a big steel cradle that bolts into the frame rails. This is the start of the aluminum fuel cell that's going to go inside of that cradle. This aluminum is a lot like steel to work with, except for the welding side of it. Aluminum has an oxide layer on it. You have to weld it AC, high frequency, to break that oxide layer. Oxide layer takes a lot of heat, essentially, to break through, a lot more than the parent material underneath. So that's why we got to weld it with AC and high free. It's not hard to do, but it takes a lot of experience, I guess, to learn how to set the machine up ahead of time, you know, prior to actually TIG welding all the seams out. So that's what we'll be doing today. All right, it's time to get this fuel cell in the truck and get the rest of this lift kit installed. Okay, so we got to get this bracket underneath this airbag. I was hoping I could just tape up the sensor to basically think that the truck was sitting really high and it needed to basically let the air out of the bags. That's not going to work. I think there's a big spring or something inside this bag. So I'm going to have to basically relieve the brake lines, the vent, and everything off the rear end so I can just drop this thing so way down towards the ground and give me some room for this drop bracket. One of my concerns is always overstretching or extending an airbag. I just got to double check to make sure we're free and clear with the little pry bar, which I just did to make sure there's nothing holding the bottom of the bag. And I should be safe to drop this axle way down. So I get this scroll in. Should be fun.
Are we bagging this thing?
Put the bag in this. I gotta go get my bag right, you know what I mean?
That's sus.
But suspended on suspicious suspension right now. Sus. Gotta get my bag right so I cannot have suspended suspension, you know what I mean?
All right.
I can afford it right.
All right.
lift, wheels, tires, fuel cell, no bed. That's where we're at. We're stopping right here. I guess I could spill the beans on who this truck's going to now, which it's going to David Sparks. You guys might know him as Heavy D from the heavydsparks YouTube channel. We're building him a truck. He's got everything already. He's got big trucks, he's got big equipment. We're gonna build him a light duty service truck that has everything you need on it, but nothing you don't need all the time.
How could you be so sure?
He's got all the stuff for that, so we're just gonna get to the point with a lightweight truck that's just got what you need every day. It only makes sense that we build this truck here because our sister company, Basin Outfitting, sells truck beds, tons of them, and nice ones too. We have great relationships with bed companies such as Knapheide, the bed we're using on this truck. So it only makes sense that we build it here. I have a working relationship with Dave from the past. I know what he likes. I built him plenty of vehicles over the years. We've collaborated ideas, and he knows that. So here it is. He should be here any minute. I'm way pumped to hear what he's got to say about it, crack into his brain, see what kind of ideas he has, and get to work on it. Stoked.
Why is somebody else building my truck? I'll tell you. Our shop's busy, so tell me about this truck.